I mostly only say this once a year on this day, but I can't resist. That's quite a line, the last line of the gospel. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world, yet lose or forfeit himself? If you ever saw the movie A Man for All Seasons, it's about the story of St. Thomas More in England. And he was a lawyer, and he, I believe, was chosen to be Chancellor of the King. He was a best friend of the King. And this was King Henry, who married 3 times and got an annulment for the first one and married again and divorced her because she wasn't producing a son for him. And I think the fault was in him, I'm pretty sure. And so they finally everybody had to sign a letter that made the king the head of the Church of England. And this was when the separation happened between the Anglican Church and the Roman Catholic Church. So finally, they tried everything to get him, and Thomas was silent. He wouldn't say where he stood on it, but he also wouldn't sign the paper. And then he quoted a Latin phrase that basically said, silence means you must believe that silence means you're in agreement, not against it, because you have to speak to be against it. So finally he's on trial, and the way he finally got caught and was eventually put to death was because this young man that he knew very well perjured himself, told a lie to trap Thomas. And the reward that he got by those who bought him out was he became the head, I'll say the DA because I don't know what the title was, of Wales. And so at this court hearing, when Thomas finally was going to lose his head, literally, as this young man was walking out, he asked the judge, "Can I see that medallion on him?" So the judge said, "Okay." And he looked at it and he said to him, "Oh, it's the dragon. What is this for?" And the head judge said, "This is this shows that he's been made the DA or whatever the office was of Wales." So Thomas More turned to him and said, he was a very devout Catholic. He turned to him and said, "What profit is there for man to gain the whole world but lose himself in the process?" And then he said, "But for Wales? All you got was Wales, and that's you would lose your soul for the little tiny place Wales on this earth?" I think it's profound because, both this reading, but especially the first reading, is talking about the ways that we lose ourselves. I've come to believe over the years that it's really important to know our feelings, but not always trust them or give over to them. Our feelings tell us things that we like and don't like, when we're comfortable and uncomfortable, when it's going against something we believe or we don't. And if we don't know how to read our feelings, I think that a lot of life passes us by and we miss the importance of things. But feelings aren't everything. So when people come into the confessional and say, "Father, I hate my sister," I say, "That's okay, you can hate her for a day or so. Just a day or so, get over it. You don't want to hang on to hatred. Hatred's ugly. But it's all right to feel that. It's all right to feel like you'd like to kill somebody, but don't do it. You can feel it, and you shouldn't deny your feelings. Say, "Oh, I didn't feel that." Be honest. I wanted to kill him. But get over it. Feelings and thoughts are just that. They're feelings and thoughts, and they pass. And if we hold on to them and trust them like they're everything, we can lose our soul. And so both this reading from Joel and from Jesus, from Deuteronomy and Jesus, the Gospel of Luke, are pointing to us something bigger, something deeper. Now, my intention is, during this Lent, as much as I can every day to come out in silence and leave in silence. Not because we want to be sad during Lent, but we want to be really open and not fill it with as much noise as we can. Not that music is noise, but but there's a value sometimes to just experiencing silence, especially as a whole community. So in doing so, I hope that we can begin and end the liturgy each day of Lent in a very quiet way, without any music or anything. And in that silence to be finding God, in that silence to be finding the gospel, in that silence to be finding Jesus. And we hear him. Here we are, only the second day of Lent, the day right after Ash Wednesday, and this is what Jesus says. If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. This is after he said he's going to be put to death. Whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. I think this is extremely profound, and I think what Jesus is asking us to consider that, pain, struggles, sufferings, doubts, feelings, thoughts, they all come and go. Sometimes they linger a long time, but there's something deeper still. And that's that grace and God's favor and love for us will carry us. It will. I mean, if Jesus on the cross could say those words, Father, forgive them all, they know not what they do, in face of that suffering, in face of that pain and struggle, in face of dying right there and being laughed at and mocked the whole time, and he could trust and believe that love was still superior, and so he prayed for them, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Somehow I think that is to be a central way of looking at life and looking at it in the face of Jesus and his teaching.